Fitz, let's move on to your favorite sport, Major League Baseball. And for the people at home that know, Fitz, you can educate the people on this. It is not the MLB.
That
It
is
is
correct.
MLB.
Yeah,
And
so let's use this example. The Major League Baseball signed, or Major League Baseball signed, the NFL signed. Think of it like you're talking out loud. That's as simple as it can get. Now, there are some instances like the Major League Baseball amateur draft. I'll allow that. But for the most part, when you're able to drop the there, you don't need it.
So, as you know, when it comes to baseball, I'm usually a traditionalist. I was initially,
so am I. Just a little new school mix.
I was initially against, the pitch clock, the banning the shit, the stolen bases. They've all worked, but I was really for this ABS system, and it's not that I didn't think that every umpire should have its interpretation of the strike zone. I just didn't want them to have full robot umpires, but I just thought that umpires missed way too many calls. And their umpires, CB Buckner is one of them.
CB Buckner, yep. Let's get our bleeps and giggles out.
Who is getting, I don't want to say completely exposed, but let's say they're getting what should have. I think this technology really could have been implemented a few years ago.
I wish this was around for Angel Hernandez, dude. Yes. And people are already somehow forgetting about that, man.
Now, I will say,
had good interactions with fans, Angel Hernandez being, but holy bleep, when you have people empathizing a few years ago with Kyle Schwarber on a way outside the box strikeout, and he slams his bat and gets ejected, like, holy crap. And with Buckner, it wasn't even just with ABS this, the past couple of days. What happened in that game with Milwaukee and Milwaukee, Tampa Bay, he wasn't even looking at the play as a first base umpire. That's what is more of a damning indictment on him to me, because he was more to the national audience. He was exposed more with, his pitch calling behind the plate. But in addition to that, having a non-ABS related thing like that crop up, holy crap.
Fitz, I'm going to say two things, one positive and one slight negative. Positive, I'm going to ask you a quick question. Okay. Do you or your family, do you guys watch and play along with Family Feud?
No.
I asked that question because to me, the ABS system is like the reveal of an answer on Family Feud. I mean, it's like a game show. It's quick. It's, there's drama to it. Are you right? Are you wrong? My one negative to it is this. There have been some pitches where, the ball or strike call has been defined by like 0.3 millimeters.
Yeah.
And it's like, is
it can
that
feel
really
like something? Yeah. I get where you're going at.
Is that because some of these umpires, like, oh, he called a ball, but it was like, or he called a strike, but it was 0.3, milliliters down. It's like, I can't
be off
the
on
umpire
and
there.
I believe they're trying to kind of gauge it like where the zone is like more. It's not just structured to the umpire, obviously, but structured to each batter. So I forget who said the joke, but you're going to see a lot more accurate heights coming up. But
here's
in terms of that, like,
go ahead.
If a batter feels like, again, we may see it differently on screen, and this is year one at the major league level, full implementation. There's going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be some hiccups. I think keeping it at 2 challenges is the correct move. I think you have to be smart as a team. And I think so far they've done, pretty well. I got April Fool's prank spoofed by, pardon the interruption, yesterday. First time in years I've been April fooled. So restart the damn clock.
I will say that one of the things I didn't understand about the rule that I do think is smart, when I heard about the 2 challenges, my brain,
I think I explained it to you. Yeah.
My brain never computed that if you win a challenge, you just get it back. Like, I just thought you had 2 challenges throughout the whole game. So I do like that aspect of it. And here's what I'll say about this. I feel this way. You know how I feel about replay in all sports. I think in baseball, could they use this technology to help like speed up a play at first base, or like when we're looking at the stealing and, is this guy's, finger pinky, like barely off the base
when
he
you
gets
have
tagged.
A situation like the other night. I think last night there was a challenge where between the Dodgers and Guardians, Ohtani was called out. Once the Guardians challenged it, the call was reversed. The ball gets into the glove. You see it get into the glove, but Ohtani almost has his spikes on that base.
Yep, I know exactly.
That's why it's that close, and it can be that. Those are some of the tougher calls, even if it's clear and
it
obvious
is
in that situation.
But I guess my point is, could the ABS technology speed that process up a little bit?
I don't think so. I think especially it would get way too complicated. There's probably a way at some point, but especially tracking ball, having thing touch, I could see that getting messed up. Like it could be very messy, and I don't know how you would go about implementing it, especially on the base paths. It's already tough enough already, especially if something like a interference rule or obstruction or this or that comes into play. Like there's so many variables where it's just it would take a while.
So the other thing is this that I did not know, and I'm sure you probably saw this clip going around. You cannot use the ABS system if you have a position player in the game.
I didn't know that going into it, but it makes sense, and I agree with it fully.
I mean, I forgot who it was. I know it was somebody on Toronto against Colorado the other day. He basically threw out a Ephus pitch. You can't even see what the hell
Ephus, baby. Ephus. There's multiple of those varieties. Oh, God. Give me... Oh, I'm going to miss you, Darvish, if he's not able to come back. He's potentially retiring, but he's got elbow. It's a complicated story, but the few times he's thrown an Ephus, man, that's a thing of beauty.
I cannot wait to see this implemented in a big count in the postseason already. With the crowd environments, you have a big moment.
Did you see opening weekend with the Reds and Red Sox?
I did. The Reds fans were going crazy.
2 calls in the same at bat. And they had scored some runs, the Reds, during that game. It's late in the game. But Suarez, obviously a fan favorite from his original time there, comes back on a 1-year, pretty decent, 14, 15 million or something deal. After waiting it out on the free agent market, he gets 2 calls right against Buckner. And one of the things I love about ABS is we're holding umpires not only accountable, but if you don't want to be embarrassed, work on your craft. There have been umpires who've been out there. I'm not necessarily naming any names. I'm stating this as a general statement, Brandon, where they've made it about themselves and the glory hog, the attention, the ump show, Now we're seeing a way to hold guy like Buckner just does not seem to care. And I say that from the space.
I'm not defending Buckner, but I will defend generally umpires on this. I think calling
I've done
balls and
something
strikes
before, and it's not easy. It's not easy to call balls and strikes.
It's not easy. I think it's
here's the problem that people don't realize. Catchers are actually part of the problem too with framing. Because some of the umpires who've gotten some of these calls wrong, it's come after a really great frame.
And that's not going away, by the way, because of the ABS. Framing is still a thing.
So there's some good and there's some bad to this. But overall, like seeing a team like Boston, because you would see this with the Yankees and Guardians in a postseason game, which we know we have. But seeing a big market team like Boston, who is already out of challenges, by the way, that's a whole nother part of the topic. But to see them, a big market squad, actually get screwed over because they ran out of challenges. They had 2 incorrect challenges. And then they had Trevor Story on a way outside ball.
Okay, well, I thought you were talking about the way you said it. You were talking about the whole
I probably
season.
could jump the gun.
Wait a minute.
But here's the thing: is that I love that, especially some of these umpires who, for at least fan perception wise, have favored the big market teams. If there is an absolutely horrible call, we now have a way to reverse that. And I keep going back now to that Lane Thomas strike 3 call that shouldn't have been back 2 years ago in the ALCS.
There's a lot of plays in that ALCS.
That one particularly was the one that swung that game. And I don't know if you go to the World Series against the Dodgers. It's tough to say. I don't know. But I think you would have had 6 games against New York instead of 5.